what we are doing here today, we are going to be addressing you more regularly on topical issues touching on the welfare of Kenyans. And we are going to be doing this from here, Orange House, and also from the offices of our member, Azimio, One Kenya coalition political parties. But basically, just to add on the statements that have been read, is to say that from policy, regulatory, and legislative point of view, that there is absolutely nothing that is going on in this government. Zero. We have just gone through supplementary estimates in Parliament, and I know most of you have the details. There was nothing in that supplementary budget that pointed out to the direction of a government that is trying to lift Kenyans from bottom to up. Again, we are going through budget policy statement right now. Again, in that document, there's zero. There's nothing pointing to the direction that there's a government that is keen on improving the welfare of Kenyans in the areas that they cite in churches. So what we are saying, what we are telling Kenyans is that we are worse off. We have never been worse off the way we are worse off today. And therefore, our message is that we are not going to wait, and Kenyans should not wait. We are tired, and we have to take the responsibility of taking care of ourselves as Kenyans. And lastly, before you bring up your questions, you know, there's this debate that is going on in the country about the expenditures of the previous regime and the expenditure and how they were occasioned and how they were happened. And I have seen that a constitutional office, the office of the Controller of Budget, is trying to run away from responsibility. And I think this is dangerous because that office was given the mandate of the independence mandate. That office was not supposed to be managed by anybody. In fact, Kenyans put faith in that office to help us check the excesses of our own government. Therefore, I want to urge the Controller of Budget that you have to take responsibility for those expenditures. Because we are not going to allow you to say that you are forced. You have the tenure of office and independence of the office. So you have to take responsibility. Secondly, the misuse or reuse of Article 223 in the Constitution is not something which is isolated. And actually, if you look at the records of expenditures since Mr. Ruto took over the reins of power, you will realize that they have spent more resources using Article 223 than even what was spent previously. And more importantly, that the resources that are spent have been spent on useless things like, you know, prayers, interdenominational prayers, you know, setting up offices, useless offices. You know, the deputy, the Mr. Gachagua has spent more resources than any other officer. And you know, the value he has for this government is zero. The only value he has for this government is dowering. I have said this before. So what we are saying is that this article is being abused by this regime. And they cannot turn around and say that it is the previous regime. In fact, the previous regime, the items listed are actually developmental items. Monies were spent on essential services that actually were benefiting Kenyans at that particular time. Thank you very much.
Do you have questions?
Asante sana.